The morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, casting soft light through the white curtains onto the dining table. Emma watched with a warm smile as she expertly brewed coffee, observing her 4-year-old son Tyler skillfully scooping cereal with his spoon. "Mommy, are we going to the park
3,
today?"
2, 1, go.
Tyler
Now
asked,
check my
licking the
hands
milk
and
from his
see the
upper lip.
magical instant results.
"Today we're going
They
to the
are
shopping
so
mall,
moisturized
remember?
and not greasy at
We
all.
promised to go buy new shoes with Daddy," Emma answered, gently stroking her son's head. She found fulfillment in her daily life, working as a hairstylist while supporting her family. With her long chestnut hair lightly tied back and wearing a pale pink cardigan, she embodied the image of a gentle mother. They heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and David appeared. Her architect husband made it a point to dress properly even on weekends. He wore a navy polo shirt with a light jacket, his well-defined features showing a warm smile. "Good morning, my family," David said, giving Emma a light kiss on the cheek before sitting next to Tyler. "Today I get to spend time with my 2 most precious people." Tyler clapped his hands happily. "Daddy, I want new shoes that light up." "Light up shoes. That sounds cool. But I wonder if you might trip when you run," David said with a serious expression as he faced his son. His love for Tyler, as if he were his own biological son, was evident in every casual gesture. Emma's heart warmed at her husband's kindness. David had entered her life 2 years ago, bringing stability and love to the small world that had been just her and Tyler. His pride in his work as an architect and the way he cherished his family made him Emma's greatest source of support. "Since the salon is closed today, I can finally relax with the whole family for the first time in a while," Emma said, picking up her coffee cup. On weekdays, she was busy with work at the salon, cutting hair and giving perms to clients. The casual conversations with colleagues Sarah and Michelle, stories about Mrs. Johnson's grandchildren from regular customers, and the smiles of young women trying new hairstyles. While being a hairstylist could be physically demanding at times, the joy she gained from connecting with people was irreplaceable. "Because you work so hard, we can live happily like this," David said, gently squeezing his wife's hand. "I want you to take it easy today." Tyler continued eating his cereal earnestly while listening to their conversation. His innocent appearance, concentrating on enjoying breakfast without worrying about the occasional spilled milk, was filled with the pure childlike nature of a 4-year-old. "Tyler, let's brush your teeth when you're done eating," Emma said, gently removing a piece of cereal from her son's cheek with her finger. After finishing their morning preparations, the family headed to the shopping mall in David's car. In the car, Tyler excitedly chattered about the signs
Now
and
check my
animals he
hands and
spotted
see the
outside the
magical
window.
instant results.
Emma
They
and
are
David
so
sat holding
moisturized
hands,
and not
smiling
greasy
at their
all.
son's pure reactions. "Mrs. Johnson really loved her new hairstyle the other day and referred 3 of her friends to me," Emma said happily. "That's wonderful. It's proof that your skills are being recognized," David replied proudly. "I hope the people living in the houses I design will be happy too." "I'm sure they will be. All the houses you design have such a warm atmosphere." Their conversation was natural and peaceful.
Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with Reddit Stories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious.
Having been married for over a year, the trust they had built in their daily life together showed even in these casual moments. For Tyler too, David was already a proper father. The shopping mall parking lot was bustling with many families, as expected for a Saturday afternoon. Emma was helping her son Tyler choose new shoes while enjoying a pleasant time with David. In the children's clothing section, Tyler found light-up shoes and was overjoyed, and David decided to purchase them after checking their safety features. "This will make our evening walks more fun," Emma smiled, looking at Tyler's feet in his new shoes. At the food court, the 3 of them shared pizza and salad, and Tyler got to taste a little adult cola, making him feel special. David talked about a recent architectural project he was working on, while Emma shared amusing episodes from the salon. "Mrs. Wilson wants to change her hairstyle for her granddaughter's wedding. She's such a positive and lovely customer." "That's wonderful. The willingness to try new things is important, David replied with admiration. As the afternoon grew late and Tyler began to show signs of tiredness, the family headed toward the parking lot. As David, carrying shopping bags, was about to take out his car keys, Emma noticed something. "Hey, do you hear that strange sound?" When David tried to start the engine, there was indeed an unusual metallic sound. The engine started once but immediately stopped. "That's odd." "It was fine this morning," David frowned and turned the key again. This time, there wasn't even a sign that the engine would start. David opened the hood to check, his expression full of confusion. While he had knowledge of architecture, he was a novice when it came to car repairs. "Daddy, is the car broken?" Tyler asked worriedly.
2, 1.
"It's okay, Tyler.
Check my hands and see
I'm
the
sure it'll be
magical
fixed
instant
soon,"
results.
David
They
answered
are
to
so
reassure his son,
moisturized and
though he
not
felt
greasy at
anxious
all.
inside. Emma took out her cell phone and searched for nearby auto repair shops. Fortunately, she found that there was an AAA certified repair shop just a few blocks from the mall. "There's a place called Johnson Auto Repair. I'll call them." The repairman who answered the phone was kind and promised to come to the parking lot right away. After waiting about 20 minutes, a middle-aged man in blue work clothes appeared. "Looks like you're having trouble. Let me take a look." The repairman, Bill, examined the car with practiced ease. After looking into the engine compartment and checking several parts, he showed an apologetic expression. "It looks like an alternator problem. It needs to be replaced. It'll take time to get the parts, so the repair won't be until Monday." "Monday?" Emma was surprised. "It can't be fixed today." "I'm sorry. On Saturday evening, the parts suppliers are closed too. But I'll have it towed to our shop, so we can start work first thing Monday morning." David looked at his wife and son and assessed the situation. "Well, there's nothing we can do. Let's take a taxi home." "A taxi?" Tyler's eyes lit up. "I've never been in a taxi before." Emma smiled at her son's innocent reaction. "That's right, it'll be Tyler's first experience." Bill, the repairman, bowed apologetically. "I'm really sorry. I'll definitely have it fixed by Monday." No, these things can happen to anyone. "Please take care of it," David replied politely. After watching their car being loaded onto the tow truck, David called a taxi company on his cell phone. The first company said they were busy on Saturday evening and there would be an hour wait. "An hour is a long time," Emma murmured, adjusting her grip on the shopping bags. "Let me try another company." David called a different taxi company. The second company was similarly busy, but the third company he called, City Cab, promised to come within 30 minutes. "Good. We can wait 30 minutes. Tyler was tired but was still proudly showing off his new shoes while they waited. The cool evening breeze began to blow, and the setting sun cast long shadows in the mall parking lot. "Mommy, what kind of car is a taxi?" "It's a regular car,
2,
honey.
1, go.
But there's a
Now check my
driver,
hands
and we
and
pay
see
money
the
to ride in
magical
it,"
instant
Emma
results.
explained to her
They are
son.
so moisturized
"Is the
and
driver
not
a nice
greasy at
person?"
all.
"I'm sure he's a nice person. It's his job to safely take customers to their destination." David listened to his wife and son's conversation while looking around. He checked to see if there were other people having car trouble in the parking lot, but it seemed they were the only ones. A little later than promised, a yellow taxi entered the parking lot. It had City Cab written on it, and though it was an older model, it appeared to be well maintained. There it is. Tyler pointed excitedly. The taxi slowly stopped near them. The driver wore a black baseball cap pulled low, making his face hard to see. When David approached the car window to give him the address, the driver answered in a low voice, "Got it. Come on, everyone get in." David opened the rear door. Emma took the shopping bags in Tyler's hand as they got into the car. David got in last and closed the door. "The address is 42 Willow Street," David confirmed with the driver. Understood, the driver answered briefly and started the car. The interior was clean and the seats were comfortable. Tyler was enjoying his first taxi experience while looking out the window. So this is a taxi. It's interesting. Emma held her son's shoulder lightly, feeling the day's fatigue. But when she remembered the fun time they'd spent as a family of 3, even the car breakdown didn't seem like a bad memory. What should we do next weekend? David asked in a relaxed tone. I want to go to the park. Tyler answered immediately. I want to run in my new shoes. That's a good idea, Emma smiled. The taxi moved with the evening traffic flow toward the residential area. In the back seat, Tyler was happily gazing at the scenery outside, pressing his face close to the window. Mommy, that building is really tall, Tyler said, pointing. Yes, it is. It's as impressive as the building's Daddy designs, Emma smiled at her husband. David showed a pleased expression at his wife's words, but something seemed to bother him as he glanced at the driver. The driver still wore his black baseball cap pulled low and seemed to be checking the back seat occasionally through the rearview mirror. Driver, your work must be tough, Emma said casually. The driver only answered briefly with, yes. His voice was low and seemed a bit hoarse.
3, 2, 1.
Tyler, with his friendly
Now shake my
nature,
hands and
showed
see the
interest in the
magical
driver
instant
too.
results. They
Mister,
are so
is being a
moisturized
taxi
and
driver
not
fun?
greasy at all.
The driver looked at Tyler through the rearview mirror but didn't answer. Emma thought he might be a bit of an unusual person. But knowing that taxi drivers in urban areas came from all walks of life, she didn't pay it much mind. David was observing the driver's behavior carefully. Something was bothering him, but at first he couldn't figure out what it was. However, when the driver showed a distinctive habit of tapping the steering wheel with his left hand while waiting at a traffic light, David's blood ran cold. That habit was a characteristic gesture Emma had told him about many times. Furthermore, when the driver gave a short cough, David became certain. Emma, David leaned close to his wife's ear and whispered as quietly as possible. Look at the driver. What's wrong? Emma was surprised by her husband's tense manner. That's Marcus, David's voice was trembling. Emma looked at the driver again. But his face looks completely different. That's not Marcus. He's had plastic surgery. But that habit of tapping the steering wheel with his left hand, the sound of his cough, I'm certain. Emma's heart began to beat violently. Marcus was her ex-husband and Tyler's biological father. Their divorce 2 years ago had become a bitter battle, and Emma had won custody of Tyler. Marcus had disappeared afterward and had never tried to contact them. The driver, Marcus, was watching their tense behavior through the rearview mirror. At that moment, he slowly turned around and slightly lifted his cap. Emma gasped. While his face had indeed changed dramatically, his eyes were unmistakably Marcus's. The cold, calculating gaze was exactly the same expression she had seen during the divorce proceedings. Emma, it's been a while, Marcus said in a low voice. Tyler's gotten big, hasn't he? Tyler was confused by suddenly being called by name. Mommy, who is this man? Let us out, David said in a strong tone. Stop right now and let us out. Instead of answering, Marcus stepped on the accelerator and increased speed. The taxi left the residential streets and began heading in a direction with fewer people. Where are you planning to go? Emma tried desperately to stay calm, but her voice was shaking. I just want to talk with my son after such a long time. That's a father's natural right,
3,
isn't
2,
it?
1, go.
Marcus's
Now
voice
shake my
contained
hands and see
mockery.
the magical
You
instant
don't have
results.
custody,
They are
Emma
so
said clearly.
moisturized and not greasy
You
at
can't
all.
legally take Tyler. Legally? Marcus sneered. I'm his blood father. What greater right could there be? Tyler was frightened by his parents' tense conversation. He pressed against David's knee and said in a small voice, Daddy, I'm scared. Those words ignited something in David's heart. Let us out right now. Marcus ignored him and continued driving. The car left the city center and headed toward the warehouse district. Emma tried to take out her cell phone, but Marcus sent a sharp look through the rearview mirror. "I wouldn't do anything foolish if I were you." David was calmly analyzing the situation. The car was going too fast to jump out, and it would be too dangerous with Tyler in his arms. However, he couldn't let them be taken to an isolated place. The light turned red and the taxi stopped. For David, this was his only chance. He pounded forcefully on the window of a white sedan that had stopped next to them. "Call the police." David shouted loudly. "This is a kidnapping." The middle-aged woman in the white sedan was startled and opened her window slightly. "What's happening?" "This man is trying to kidnap us. Please call 911 immediately." Emma also shouted toward the window. The drivers of surrounding cars began to notice the emergency situation. Several people could be seen taking out their cell phones. Marcus clicked his tongue. He couldn't attract any more attention. As soon as the light turned green, he accelerated rapidly and passed through the intersection. "Damn!" Marcus cursed. However, he had attracted too much attention. Several cars had recorded the taxi's license plate number, and it was clear that reports to the police had already begun. Marcus was forced to change his plan. He had originally intended to take Tyler, but with this much commotion, he would be tracked immediately. At the next corner, Marcus suddenly pulled the car to the curb and stopped. "Get out." "What?" Emma was confused. "I said get out right now," Marcus yelled. David didn't hesitate to open the door, lift Tyler up, and get out of the car. Emma quickly followed with the shopping bags. "Don't think this is over, Emma," Marcus said, sticking his face out the
3,
window.
2, 1, go.
"Tyler is my
Now
son.
take my hands and see
We'll
the
meet
magical
again."
instant results.
The
They
taxi
are
accelerated
so
rapidly
moisturized
and
not
disappeared into
greasy
the
at
evening
all.
darkness. The three of them stood on the sidewalk. Tyler still didn't completely understand the situation, but sensing the adult's tension, he was about to cry. "It's okay, Tyler. Everything's okay now." Emma hugged her son. David looked around. Fortunately, they were in a residential area, so there were shops nearby. "Let's wait in that store until the police come." The sound of sirens could be heard in the distance. The actions of the people who had reported earlier had saved them. Emma clung to David's arm, trembling. It really was Marcus. "It's my job to protect you and Tyler." David held his wife tightly. "Everything's okay now." The patrol car arrived about 10 minutes after Marcus's taxi had left. Officers Johnson and Rodriguez got out of the car and rushed to the family trembling on the sidewalk. "Are any of you injured?" Officer Johnson asked in a gentle tone. "Yes, we're physically fine," David answered, though his voice was still tense. Officer Rodriguez showed concern for Tyler's condition while speaking to Emma. "Your child seems to be in shock. Let's hear your story in a safe place first." The three were taken to a nearby coffee shop and seated in a quiet corner. The shop owner, Mrs. Park, understood the situation and made sure no other customers were around. Tyler was given warm cocoa and gradually began to calm down. "Please tell us everything from the beginning." Officer Johnson took out his notebook. David explained the circumstances from the car breakdown to calling the taxi, and Emma talked about the moment she realized the driver's identity. However, the most important part was the past relationship between Marcus and Emma. "The driver is Marcus Taylor, my ex-husband," Emma began quietly. "We divorced 2 years ago, and I was awarded custody of Tyler." Officer Rodriguez frowned. "The divorce wasn't amicable, was it?" "No. Marcus couldn't accept losing custody and was very aggressive during mediation. After that, he disappeared, so I thought he had given up." David added, "Marcus had undergone plastic surgery. His face had changed dramatically, but I recognized him by his habit of tapping the steering wheel with his left hand and his distinctive cough." "I see. You knew about Mr. Marcus from before, sir.
2, 1.
Emma had told me about
Now
him in
check my
detail.
hands and see the magical
Before we got
instant
married,
results.
I
They are
understood what
so
kind of person
moisturized
Marcus
and not
was.
greasy at
David
all.
squeezed his wife's hand. Officer Johnson continued taking notes while asking questions. Do you believe Mr. Marcus was trying to abduct Tyler? Without a doubt, Emma stated firmly. He said it was his natural right as a father. But legally, he has no right to take Tyler. The taxi company was City Cab, right? We'll contact them immediately and begin tracking the vehicle, Officer Rodriguez radioed headquarters. The response from headquarters was swift. Through City Cab's vehicle management system, the location of the problematic taxi was being identified. Furthermore, testimony from citizens who had reported at the intersection was beginning to come in. Mrs. Chen, who was driving the white sedan, has given us detailed testimony, Officer Johnson relayed information from the radio. Several other witnesses also recorded the license plate number. Emma sighed with relief. We were saved thanks to everyone. That's what citizen cooperation is for. But we need to think about the future. Officer Rodriguez became serious. Mr. Marcus may try to make contact again. David immediately responded, is a restraining order possible? We have sufficient grounds with this incident. We can request an arrest warrant for stalking violations and attempted kidnapping, and also apply for a restraining order at the same time. Another message came through the radio. With City Cab's cooperation, the taxi Marcus had been driving was found in the southern part of the city. The car had been abandoned, and Marcus himself was still at large. The car has been found, but the suspect is still on the run, Officer Johnson reported. But we have plenty of leads. He appears to have used a fake driver's license, but we found his address from his application documents to the taxi company. An hour later, more good news arrived. The SWAT team had found Marcus at a motel where he was hiding and arrested him without resistance. We've successfully apprehended suspect Marcus Taylor, Officer Rodriguez reported with a smile. He'll be charged with stalking violations, attempted kidnapping, and using fraudulent identification. For the first time, Emma felt truly relieved. Is this really over? Yes. We also found notebooks in his motel room recording your address and daily activities. This is evidence of long-term stalking behavior.
3,
Tyler
2,
didn't
1,
understand
go.
much of the adults'
check my hands
conversation,
and see
but
the
seeing that
magical
Mommy and
instant
Daddy were
results.
relieved,
They are
he felt
so
safe too.
moisturized and not greasy
Having
at
finished
all.
his cocoa, he was looking sleepy on David's lap. Your child may need psychological care, Officer Rodriguez suggested. We can refer you to a counselor who specializes in children. Please, Emma answered immediately. I'll do anything for Tyler. A detailed interview at the police station was scheduled for the next day, and the family was taken home in the police officer's patrol car. When they arrived home, Emma truly realized how frightening the day's events had been. David, if you hadn't noticed, I don't know what would have happened. Protecting you and Tyler is only natural, David embraced his wife. We're family. That night, after Tyler had fallen asleep, Emma and David quietly talked in the living room. Because you had told me about Marcus in detail, I was able to notice immediately, David said. The fact that you didn't hide your past and taught me about it saved us today. Because you accepted my past and loved Tyler like he's your real son, tears welled up in Emma's eyes. Today, when Tyler called you, Daddy, I'm scared, I knew you were his real father. The following week, Marcus was formally charged and ordered to be held without bail. A restraining order was also issued, legally prohibiting him from approaching Emma and Tyler for the next 10 years. Now we can make a fresh start, David said, putting his arm around his wife's shoulder. Yes. As a real family, Emma smiled. This incident made me realize again that there are things more important than blood relations. In the child counselor sessions, Tyler repeatedly said, David, Daddy protected me, and his psychological wounds seemed to be minimized. 6 months later, Marcus's trial concluded. He received a 3-year prison sentence for stalking violations, attempted kidnapping, and using fraudulent identification. When Emma heard the verdict in court, she finally felt as if a weight had been completely lifted from her heart. "It's really over now," Emma murmured, gripping David's hand. Marcus, imprisoned, refused all visits and cut off all external contact. His parents were also disappointed in their son's actions and sent Emma a letter saying they were sorry. Marcus would serve his sentence in complete isolation. Meanwhile, Emma's family was building a new daily routine. Tyler was seeing the child counselor once a month, but the memory of that frightening night seemed to be gradually fading.
3, 2,
What
1,
was important to him was
Now
that
take
David
my
continued
hands
to
and
be a
see the
loving
magical
father.
instant results.
"Daddy,
They are
will you come to
so
my school
moisturized and
presentation?"
not greasy at all.
Tyler asked at the breakfast table. "Of course. I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation." David gently stroked his son's head. Emma also found new vitality in her work at the salon. After the incident, many regular customers showed concern for her, and she realized again that she had a warm community around her. Mrs. Johnson said, "We help each other in times of trouble," and sometimes helped pick up Tyler from school. At David's architectural firm, his colleagues also showed concern for the family. The director, Mr. Anderson, said, "Family safety comes first," and made arrangements so David could have time to spend with his family. One Sunday afternoon, the three were having a picnic at a nearby park. Tyler was running around energetically in his new light-up shoes, while Emma and David sat on a bench watching their son's innocent figure. "When I think about that night, I still get a little scared sometimes," Emma confessed honestly. "That's natural. But we overcame it together." David put his arm around his wife. "As long as you and Tyler are with me, I'll protect you from anything." Tyler ran back and sat between them. "Mommy, Daddy, we're a family, right?" "Yes, Tyler. We're a real family," Emma hugged her son. "It doesn't matter whether we're blood related or not," David joined in. "Loving each other, supporting each other, and being together, that's what family means." At sunset, on their way home from the park, the three discovered a small photo studio. In the window was a sign that read, "Family Photo Campaign." "Should we take a family photo?" Emma suggested. "That's a good idea," David agreed. "It would be a commemoration of our new start too." The photographer at the studio was a kind old gentleman who was good at making Tyler laugh. The three, who were initially a bit nervous, soon relaxed and were able to show natural smiles. "Now, look this way." Big smiles. At the moment the shutter clicked, all three showed genuinely happy expressions. Emma leaned against David's shoulder, and Tyler showed a beaming smile between them. A week later, when they saw the finished photo, Emma was moved almost to tears. What was captured in the photo was the image of a family in the true sense of the word, united after overcoming difficulties. "Let's display this photo in the living room,"
3,
Emma
2,
suggested.
1, go.
"Let's
Now
do
take my
that."
hands and see the
As a
magical
symbol of our
instant
new
results.
beginning,
They
David
are
agreed.
so moisturized and
That
not
night,
greasy
the
at
three
all.
sat on the sofa looking at their new family photo. Tyler pointed at himself in the picture and laughed happily. Emma, completely freed from the shadow of Marcus's past, held hope for her future life. The future she would build with David and Tyler would surely be filled with love. The next morning, Emma's steps were light as she headed to the salon. It was the day Mrs. Wilson would come to consult about her hairstyle for her granddaughter's wedding. By creating a hairstyle to celebrate a new beginning in life, Emma felt as if her own fresh start was being blessed too. Emma understood from the bottom of her heart that family was not about blood relations but about being connected by love and trust. And continuing to prove that truth together as three people was the path to their happy future.